This is Austin Real Estate Investing.
Austin Real Estate Investing.
We'll be discussing real estate investing in Austin, Texas, and bringing you experts from all different sectors of the real estate game. Your host, Jordan Moorhead, is a real estate agent and investor in Austin and is here to help you get started or to build your portfolio and explore new strategies.
Hi, this is Jordan Moorhead. This is Austin Real Estate Investing. Today we have Cedrick Mahieux. I may have butchered that. He will tell you how to say it right. He's going to tell us all about his experience here in Austin and how he ended up where he is today. Hey, Cedrick, how are you?
Hi, Jordan. I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you doing?
Doing well. Real quick for the audience, because I kind of feel like I butchered your name a little bit there. Could you pronounce your last name for us?
Sure. Mahieux.
Mahieux.
It's French. It's not easy.
Yeah, not easy when you speak English. Love France, though, by the way. So real quick, Cedrick, who are you and how are you involved with real estate investing?
Sure. So as you can hear, I'm French, Ph.D. chemist by training. I came to the US after my Ph.D. The idea was to stay a year. This has been 17 years, so kind of change of plan here.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm in Austin. I'm the manager in R&D department in a chemical company here. That's for my W-2 job. And I actually started my real estate career, I would say, just 2-3 years ago, actually. Something I always thought about to do, but always focusing on my W-2 corporate job. And that's pretty much what I learned and what I was taught. When I was a kid, my parents told me, go to school, get good grades, get diploma, get a job, a good job, make money, retire and enjoy. So I've been focusing on this pretty much. But several years later, there's different components that came into my life, and we can develop that further if you want, but pretty much started to decide to dive into real estate. I got exposed to different things that made me look at that more, deeper. And since then, I've been investing in a single family home, started with this, hard money lending as well.
Oh.
Right now, focusing on commercial multifamily and also capital raise, and also doing a bit of angel investment, helping some startup here in Austin.
That's awesome. Real quick, because I'm curious, I know how real estate works in the United States. How does it look buying a house in France?
So it's a different story. So pretty much, I haven't looked into depth because I really started my real estate career just a few years ago. I've been in the US. Mm-hmm. Although 2-3 years ago, I went back to where I live and I wanted to buy a place, maybe an apartment to rent, like Airbnb. I'm from a place which people go for vacation. So I thought that may be a good investment. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty eyes-opening to see some of the differences with the US, like some of the opportunities we do have here. Like, for instance, here you can use some of your retirement money, right? If you go with a self-directed, a solo 401k, something like that, you have all these kind of approach. You can use avenues. Mm-hmm. In France, specifically, you cannot necessarily do that. There is other things too we discuss, and there are some limitations in what you can do. And at the same time, depending where you are, you cannot have a good revenue income as much. It cannot be as good as what we can have in the US as well. So it's kind of a different market. Some of the pros you do have, actually, the interest rate are almost inexistent, I would say, a bit of 1%. But even with this, it's kind of difficult to find some deals. I'm sure some people would say, well, I'm able to make a living out of there. And you can, depending where you buy. But it's difficult. I have some friends investing actually in France. And they say it's not as easy. I wouldn't say easy, but they don't have as many options as we do have here.
Okay. Where are you from in France?
I'm from a place from Bordeaux, so people who know the wine. So I grew up by the ocean, actually. Nice place from there. And that's one of the reasons, actually, when I moved to the US, I ended up first in Detroit, Michigan. Oh. And after a while, I went to the Bay Area. So I was close to Napa and Sonoma. So it was pretty enjoyable to get back to some of the roots,
Yeah. That's awesome. I love France. I spent a lot of time in the south of France, but not so much outside of the ocean areas, and it's a lot of fun. So Cedrick, you got started real estate investing single family, and now you've moved on to multifamily and lending. Why did you choose to invest in Austin? Was it just a function of being in Austin?
It's a combination of both. I was looking at first, you want to find a market you like, right? Looking at different criteria, and you want to make sure that, pretty much the market checked the box. And at the same time, yes, being here actually helps because to establish connection, meeting people, the teams, the brokers, everybody having, at least if you can, a face-to-face, knowing the area actually helps a lot. So that's why I started to invest here in Austin. That's the main reason. I'm also looking at other markets with different partners. So it depends pretty much depends on the market, the number, and the people you invest with. As long as I like the people and all the other criteria are met, I'm willing to invest anywhere else.
Awesome. Yeah. Obviously, the numbers are important and the people are important in real estate, but Austin's an amazing market. And like you alluded to, it certainly is easier to operate in this market if you are located in this market right here every day. Not that you can't do it from somewhere else, but it's a little easier to operate in a crazy market like Austin when you're sitting in Austin.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone like at least boot on the ground, as you say, right? I know some people who do very well doing investment long distance, but for sure having someone on site, like even especially when you acquire property and you need to be on the top, talking to contractor, depending if you do that on your own or not, right? Property managers, anybody, right? It's better to have someone here who can check how things are going.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a good team, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Cedrick, we talked a little about you're a W-2 still in your career in chemical engineering. What attracted you to real estate investing initially? Because it sounds like your upbringing, you were taught, get a W-2, get good grades, and get this awesome career. How did you change lanes there?
Have you wanted to be part of GoBundance, the tribe of millionaires, but just haven't hit that millionaire status yet? Well, now you can, not even being a millionaire, by joining our new program, GoBundance Emerge. My name's Jamie Gruber, creator of GoBundance Emerge and member of the GoBundance community. And now you can join GoBundance.com/emerge, GoBundance.com/emerge. Use code Jordan for $100 off this 12-week goal-setting program and mastermind that'll propel you to being a whole life millionaire.
So couple of actually maybe 3 or 4 reasons for that. So as mentioned, I was pretty much following the path I was taught to follow. And so by the age I was 30, I was working in a Fortune 500 company in California, in the Bay Area. So, pretty much I was right on track of what I was taught to do, kind of living the dream,
Yeah.
And my wife has a similar path career. Actually, she's a Ph.D. chemist as well. And started working in biotech, and we were 30 and we thought like we made it, that's it, so we love traveling. So we continue doing this more, like we have gone through 30 countries. We were living close to Napa and Sonoma, so enjoying all the restaurant, the winery that California has to offer,
Mm-hmm.
We were traveling once a month, but pretty much in this, I would say consumer mindset, right? Like making good money, working hard and spending hard as well.
Yeah.
And then related to real estate, so I thought about that when I was younger. I thought like house flipping is pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do anything because I thought to make money, you need to do everything by yourself, which was kind of naive approach, but that's what I thought. And so I put that on the side. I was focusing on my studies and my career. When I was in California, we were able to buy a house in 2011 after the recession, and were able to sell it back 5 years later with a pretty good appreciation, 60% on the house, because we bought at the right moment on the market.
Yeah.
In my interest in real estate, I just thought, hey, we were lucky. So I guess next time I would have to wait for the next market cycle, which could be now actually, to maybe invest to something. That's how much I knew, maybe I didn't know about real estate. And the other thing that came into place is, so we have kids, and actually at the same time, when you look at your kids, you think, hey, I want to be able to to give them the opportunity to enjoy the world. And that pretty much changed your vision, at least for me. And at the same time, I thought I want to give them a legacy and have the time, have enough time to spend with them. I love what I'm doing in my job. I want eventually to be able in a few years down the road to spend more time, quality time, and help them discover the world and potentially give back as well to the community. The example I take is, let's go for instance to Africa and help build a school or build well or something, give back, because it's so fruitful to do something like that. It's kind of a human experience, and I think it's worth living. And we were looking with my wife, okay, how are we going to do that and be able to accomplish these goals and travel and give them what they want, what they need. And when you look at the system, we really realize that, the system has really some limitation. So if you look at, for instance, when you look at a saving account, right, you go to the bank, and I don't want to criticize anybody, but if you go to a bank right now, the interest they can propose is 0.5%. Okay, great. At the same time, if you look at the inflation rate from March to April, it's 0.9%. So that's kind of, okay, that's weird. So I'm saving money, but I'm not really saving money, right? It's not based on the market. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I saw some events, I would say, especially after the recession, the first one I saw, where actually I could see people literally losing hundreds of thousands of dollars with their retirement account because everything was in stock, and the fund and everything. And there was nothing they could do about that. So pretty much some people who were supposed to retire had to stay working longer to rebuild their portfolio and get enough money income to live, right? And so we really realized that, okay, there's really some limitation here. What else can we do, to build our wealth and make sure that the money we work hard to get is going to work hard for us as well. And that's how actually we started to look, in real estate. And the other thing that happened is I found a video of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, on YouTube, and which is pretty cliche because everybody said that. And but that's true. And that's really, when I saw what he was talking about and really realizing I was exactly the example he was describing, people living, having a good house, good car, whatever, and living, showing the limitation of the system. I said, well, that's me. And I realized, okay, there's something else I can do there. And I also found some video of Brendan Turner, Bigger Pockets, on YouTube, which is a lot of free content. And all this stuff together, make me really realize, and my wife as well, okay, maybe we can do something else. So still continuing the corporate world, but at the same time, trying to create some passive income to meet our goal, what we want to achieve in life. And also, I think it's important, it became even more relevant when you look at with the COVID, right? Can you see how many people lost their job, which is terrible? And you think you depend on a job, assuming you're able to maintain this passive income, that could be another revenue stream that can protect you and help you to survive as well. So that's how, long story short, that's how I decided to dive into real estate. That's something I had a long time in mind. And by this eye-opening midlife crisis, whatever you call it, I really realized I'm also an entrepreneur by heart. So it's really something I want to explore on the side, and I want to dive further, looking at opportunities. Can we do something, and also help the community. That's why right now I'm diving into the commercial multifamily, because you can buy some single family home, duplex, triplex. And at the same time, if you compare that and you buy, like say 100 apartments, the impact you can have on the society by helping these people, by trying to improve the quality of life is bigger. I'm not really a patient guy by definition. And when I see that I can affect and positively, hopefully impact the life of maybe 100 families or something, I feel better than just one or two with a single family home. So that's the reason why we're also looking at commercial multifamily.
Yeah, I like your comparison there to affecting one person's life, making one person's living situation better to affecting 100. Everybody talks about scale. Obviously, doing one single family project at a time takes a long time. Doing 100 units takes about the same time. And everybody talks about that, but you can affect 100 lives quicker than you can just do one. So I love that. I also really like that you're talking. A lot of people talk about real estate and they want to get out of your W-2, and I don't sense that that's really your goal right away. Of course, you probably eventually want to get out of it, but it sounds like you're doing well now. You want to keep doing well in your W-2, and you're building this other business here on the side. I love that. I love people who love their jobs, want to keep their job, but also want to build another stream.
At the same time, in the job, it depends what job you have as well. In my job, I'm fortunate to be working in the R&D, like research and development department. And that's why I did research, because the goal, if you can improve the life, working on new technology that can help people, that has also an impact on people, right? I mean, without disclosing what I'm doing, I mean, we work on some technology that are helping people, so that's also fulfilling in a sense, it's a different approach. So yes, related to my W-2, I think it's another way to find something fulfilling, because I'm fortunate to work in a R&D department, research and development. That's why actually I did research, and we develop some technology that have a positive impact on people's life on different aspects. I can't talk in detail about what it is, but it's also something pretty fulfilling. It's a different dimension, different approach, obviously, but it's rewarding too. So that's why I like doing both in parallel. Obviously, it's demanding, because by day I'm working on this on my job, and by the evening, usually I work on my real estate kind of entrepreneur life. So it's kind of 2 lives. Plus, with the kids, it's somewhat 3 lives. But
yeah,
that's how it is.
Long days you've got there. You've got W-2, side hustle, and then family too. That's a lot to cram in a day.
Right. Yeah. It's tough to keep your sanity, but we try.
Yeah. Now, if you're passionate about what you do, it makes it easier, though. So it sounds like you are on all fronts. I'm sure you're passionate about your family. I know you're passionate about real estate, and it sounds like you're passionate about your W-2. So life is good.
Yeah. It's good to be busy, I guess.
Yeah. Real quick, Cedrick, could you give our listeners some advice of how to avoid a bad deal? So maybe things you've seen when analyzing property, whether it's analyzing single families to buy or analyzing a limited partnership or being a KP in a deal. What do you look at to make sure you avoid a bad deal?
So, well, a lot of things, I guess. So your goal should be try to be as thorough as you can. So your goal is to kill the deal, right? And if you can't, well, that's really worth looking into it, right? So different criteria. So first, the market is going to be important, like several metrics you need to take into consideration. So without spending too much time on that, you want to look at the job growth, the population, the net migration, things like that. At the same time, if you look at after a neighborhood, like you want to go like one level deeper, right? So you want to look at where you're investing. So several things to look at in consideration. So maybe one first key takeaway will be, don't dive right away into the numbers. Like, I mean, it's good to have a really quick overview about the numbers, but at the same time, you want to do your due diligence around. So for instance, if you look at a property, you want to look at the flood zone, right? You go on the FEMA website, you look at that, you look at the crime report, you look at median income. It's important, right? Because a lot of people, when they do the pro forma, they project, we can maybe increase rent, this and there. Well, are you targeting the right community for that? So that's one of big thing I see in the deals I'm looking at, where sometimes you look at some pro formas and say, you can do the scenario with this property. Well, not really. Like for instance, I was looking at a property recently where it was suggested to increase the rent to a certain number. Yes, okay, you could, but when you look at the median income for some of the people living there, it looks like they won't be able to afford that. So unless you're able to reposition, attract people from different places, that might take more time. So it's something you have to consider. So I would say that's a big takeaway. It's not because you think you can increase the rent, for instance. You want to be careful. You look at the demographic, right? Another one too you have to be careful is, okay, you're able to increase the rent, but now, are you competing or not with the median price for a house? Because sometimes people would say, okay, now I could actually afford to get a loan on a house, especially with the interest rate so low. So maybe it's not worth it for me to rent. And some people sometimes don't look at that. They say, you can increase. Yeah, they can afford. And now they're looking at different products. So you're competing with something else, right? And do your due diligence for sure. I don't know. There's so many things you need to look at. I mean, the age of the property, depending where they are, you need to look at some specific things. So if they are pretty old, Looking at the market cycle, so a lot of people, commercial multifamily, say, okay, we're going to do this plan. Like, okay, we can do that, refi in 2 years, resell in 5 years or whatever. Yes, but when you resell, where are you? Like, what part of the market cycle are you? Are you in a buyer market or a seller market? So maybe you want to wait a little bit further to be maybe in a seller market or not. So you really need to consider what's the market cycle. I think that's an important one as well. People don't look at enough, I would say. And stick to your number, I would say. So make sure you come up with what are your criteria and stick to that. And then have some flexibility, discuss with mentors, people who have experience as well. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and to be by yourself. Real estate is actually a teamwork. You have to be a team player. Mm-hmm. You cannot succeed by your own. You would be foolish to think so. I mean, some people may, but I don't think so. I think they are hiding what other people are doing to get all the credit. I'm not sure. But stick to your number and don't be emotional. It's a tough one because you see something you like, property to be great. Well, the number don't fit. And we are all the same. We say, well, maybe if I maybe do something here, the number are going to fit eventually. But then after you can be really in trouble. And maybe the last one I can mention, which is relevant to Texas, I would say, when you do your assessment, especially on commercial multifamily, when you look at property tax, really, really pay attention to this. I've seen recently some people looking at the property tax and did some homework. I mean, they talked to some of the inspector from the appraiser, I would say. They called the office and wanted to get some information about the property. And based on what they heard, they say, well, they're not going to increase necessarily. They did a revaluation last year on the property. But guess what? I mean, in Texas, they do that every year. And the person was not from Texas, but they do that every year. And I've heard some really bad, horrible surprise when people look at property tax. So this year 0, the current owner pay a certain amount. Year 1, some people have seen the tax increase by 40%.
Wow.
So if you haven't counted that in your budget and you estimate in your projections, you're in trouble, right? So the tax, I've tried to be conservative with this because that can be a big, you can have a big discrepancy there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's smart to always assume that property taxes are going to go up because they don't ever go down. So make sure you assume they're not staying the same or not going down.
Right.
Probably be in a safe spot.
Hey guys, this is Jordan Moorhead here, and I wanted to ask if you could do a huge favor for me. If you could go leave a review for this podcast wherever you're listening to it, that would really help me get this into the hands of other people that are interested in information about Austin real estate investing, and I'd be able to help more people. Thanks, guys.
And some people actually use, in Texas, we do like the tax protest. You can do that. It's good. I would consider that as a bonus. I wouldn't rely on this to make sure your number works, right? It's kind of the cherry on the cake. If it works, good for you. It should work without doing this.
Sure.
That's my approach.
Yeah. And for everybody listening, if you haven't protested your taxes, probably something to look into. A lot of the times you can save a lot of money just by doing a quick tax protest. And there's lots of firms out there that will help you deal with it and get paid in the end if they're successful. So it's worth trying. All right. Cedrick, what's one thing you'd tell newer investors looking to get started in real estate investing in the Austin area?
Don't get discouraged. And it's a hot market, right? Literally and figuratively. A lot of people are coming here. It's number one market, depending who you talk to and what source you do look at. The real estate is insane right now. Whatever type of asset you invest in, from single family home to anything else, right? The pricing, everything on the market, it's a bidding war. I heard people are bidding as well on rent, so which is kind of crazy. So I would say go methodically, stick to your approach. It can be frustrating. Don't hesitate to look at other market if needed as well. But yeah, build connections, people are in market, understand really, really your market pretty well, the dynamic, what's going on, where are the hot spots, what's coming up. Look at the trend, the economic trend as well. That can help you to anticipate what's going to happen, right? And yeah, collaboration, networking, put some solid, realistic criteria. So don't be afraid to get vetted by other investors. and be open and grind. That's what I would say.
Yeah, being consistent, not getting discouraged are really big in this market right now. So I love that advice.
It's a tough one. I know actually some people who have been investing for a while who start looking somewhere else. They say, the numbers, it's hard to find something. The numbers is difficult now, right? It's not easy. So
What was your first investment, and would you recommend that others do that the same way?
You know what? For the investment, so my first investment was a single family home, a rental in Leander, for people who know Austin in MSA. Mm-hmm. We bought a brand new house, single family home, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I think one thing to do is to really look at the opportunities. So it was a 3-bedroom. There was a huge den on the second story, and we decided to build a 4th bedroom. There was enough space to add few walls and to make a decent sized bedroom. Mm-hmm. And that helps you to increase your cash flow, right? You still have the same surface, same footprint, I would say. But now you have 4 bedroom, and you want to make sure that you target the right market as well too. So people are looking for that. So look at the even value add, even from new product, right? You can always find something to do. And would I recommend to do this? I think it really depends on your goal. I think a lot of people think, okay, maybe, and that's what I started. How I started as well. Like you say, I'm going to start with small, like single family home, and maybe after duplex, triplex, to go like slowly getting up to the commercial multifamily. I think if you're doing your due diligence and taking time to educate yourself, I think you could jump directly into commercial multifamily if it's something you are interested in. It's a lot of work. There's a lot to learn. But again, you need to find the proper partners, do your due diligence. And what we talked earlier, I think there's a lot of work to do, no question. But the return of effort, I think is going to be overall in the long term less, or maybe similar to what you do on the single family home. And then you have the economy of scale as well. So there's some advantage there. So I would say be open to that and look at really something that really appeals to you, right? It can be self-storage. I'm interested actually in self-storage or residential assisted living, right? If you believe into the product you are going after, that will make your life easier, right? If you try to just get to a product because your goal is to say, I want to make that much money at the end, that's not going to work. One of my, I'm part of a coaching program, Jake and Gino, if you know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And pretty nice. And Gino say, fall in love with the process, not the results. And that's totally true. Likes first what you're doing and the result will come. Don't look at the results first and try to make something work. So whatever speaks to you, you have pros and cons in every type of investment. Go for it. I'd say first select something you like a lot because you will require some energy and you will have some up and low. And if you don't believe in it, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love your in coaching. I think it really helps to get some guidance on some of the bigger stuff if you're trying to get into commercial multifamily, or let's say you're looking to get into house flipping or wholesaling, whatever you're looking to get into, having a roadmap laid out for you can help quite a lot.
Yeah, and the coaching program, some people say, well, it's some money spent, it can be costly. It depends where you go, sure. At the same time, it's an investment on yourself, right? It's not just spending money. Mm-hmm. You add value to yourself on the short term or longer term, right? So I'm learning a lot through the program. I think there's a lot of content. Now everything is on the internet, right? So you can eventually find everything potentially, but it's going to take some time. So it depends what your timeline, what you want to achieve as well too. So I know that for me, it has been pretty beneficial. So if something you consider, look into that, do your due diligence as well, who you like and dive. And if you have any question, there are so many opportunity resources. You can reach out as well if you want to talk about that, but on internet, you can find pretty much everything you need to.
Absolutely. The internet is a great tool, especially websites like Bigger Pockets and YouTube and all this stuff that has all this free real estate investing information. Or podcasts, listen to a podcast, listen to multiple podcasts, and you're going to learn so much. But, at some point, I think, what you're talking about, you need to reach out and get coaching if you're looking to get to that next level. Speaking of that, talking about learning and growing, getting the next level. What's your favorite business or mindset book, Cedrick? I know you mentioned Robert Kiyosaki and Brandon Turner, but what's your favorite book that you like to recommend to people looking to get started?
So for me, business book, I would say, first mindset. I think the mindset is everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have the mindset, you won't succeed. And that's something you need to work on. Maybe it's natural for some people, but I think it's a constant work on ourselves. There's constant improvement. So definitely Rich Dad Poor Dad has been really a big aha moment for me on the mindset. The next one, I would say, I really like the one thing from Gary Keller, who is actually in Austin, right? Keller Williams company.
Yep.
I really like the way he described the book. It's more like a mindset approach, also related to real estate. I really like the way he writes and the simple ideas and graphs he has. Pretty neat. What else? Crushing it in commercial multifamily. Sorry, I'm just blanking on the title, from Brian Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good one because you can really see how someone super successful and crushing it pretty literally has started, and what is his approach. And you can relate to him when you're at the beginning of your journey, right? You say he was a guy, like a normal guy, right? With doubt, not knowing what he was doing, asking questions. So you can really see that, because a lot of these people, you look at them, they're on the pedestal. They are studied like they are God, and you say, oh my gosh, how do you become these guys, right? And I like the book actually with Brian, because he helps you, he guides you step by step to see how he approaches things. I think that's a good one. I don't know, yeah. You have Ken McElroy as well. That's some good one. The ABC of Real Estate, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would recommend, I think, for now. There are more, but yeah, awesome. Just a few of them.
We will make sure we put those in the show notes, guys. Cedrick, how can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out and learn more about what you're doing?
So I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. Spend some time there. I think it's a good platform to connect with people on a business level. I'm on Facebook. I don't spend that much time on Facebook. I guess maybe I'm too old for that. I don't know. I should maybe work more on this. I'm on Instagram as well. So Cedrick.33. And my website is coming soon, actually. I've started to do something, but now I'm kind of revamping it. So there will be some a website coming to be related to what you see there, ChemDox Partners, because we're a doctor in chemistry, so that's how it started. But yeah, it's coming soon. So if you want to get some information, reach out to me and I can keep you posted.
Awesome. Sounds good. And Cedrick, last question here, the most important question we ask. What is your favorite restaurant in Austin?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know. It depends on your mood, I guess, right? Actually, that I was really surprised and impressed it's a Brazilian, it's SP Steakhouse. I would say it's a Brazilian steakhouse toward Bee Cave. And that's a restaurant, actually. I can tell you the story. It's pretty interesting, actually. I was looking for a restaurant to go on a Friday night for a date with my wife. And I started to do that at the last minute. And I looked at it on Friday afternoon and I found this restaurant open. And it has very good reviews on the web. And I said, okay, let's try it. And they had tables. It was really in the middle of COVID, I would say, where they actually limit the capacity of people, into the restaurant. Still, on Friday night, I found some spot like 3 hours down the road. I mean, I could do something. When there, the restaurant actually has a label saying voted one of the top 50 restaurants in the US. It looks like something pretty official.
Wow.
And that was actually the best Brazilian restaurant I've tried so far. I've tried several. I'm not an expert in Brazilian restaurant. But to be honest, I was really impressed. Like the quality of the food, the meat, I love meat. And we had like 13, 14 dishes. Typical in Brazilian, but really tender. Really good experience if you like meat, I would say. That's a good one. I don't know. There was one I liked in the past called Vox. I think it closed. That was a kind of modern American restaurant. Pretty good. And I like some of the steakhouse. I like to go sometime to Jake Allen as well. I like the atmosphere there. And, I like to go to some brewery and distillery. I have quite a lot where I live, and I like to go to try some local products too.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we'll make sure we get all that in the show notes too, guys. Cedrick, thank you so much for coming on here today. And again, if anybody wants to reach out to Cedrick, you can find him on social media and keep in touch with him. His website will be out soon.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jordan, for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.